One of the things that I'm enjoying about doing these little services during lockdown is the fact that we're getting the chance to take scriptures out of the church building and just in ordinary everyday scenes in the garden or in home. We're able to look at the stories that are really familiar to us and begin to think, what do they actually mean? Um, Not that we've never done that in the past, but there's something different about looking at scriptures in a different context. And today's story is the one where, after all the drama of Jerusalem, all the Holy Week thing that we looked at last week, Good Friday, pain and isolation and aloneness, and then the joy of Easter Sunday. And now a week later, we're looking at the aftermath of that weekend, of Easter weekend. And one of the stories that I love are the stories that was read earlier. The story of the two men walking home from Jerusalem after the great Passover weekend, going back to their home in Emmaus. And I can understand how the two guys, as they were chatting, were beginning to talk over what had happened the previous weekend. Have you ever gone through something that was really big, and at the end of it, you think, what actually happened? And you almost need to retell the story to understand what happened. And that's what the two men were doing. As they're walking back along the road, they're saying, do you remember this? And do you remember, I wonder what happened to him? I wonder what they did. I wonder, and just all the questions reminiscing what happened. And then all of a sudden, they almost looked over their shoulder and there's someone there. They didn't realise they're walking with anybody. And they began to talk to him, and the man came and said, what are you talking about? And they said, really? You don't know? Have you come from Jerusalem? Yeah. Do you not know what happened? Do you not know the kind of things we're talking about? There's Jesus and his crucifixion and resurrection, and all the crowds and the enemies were shouting. It was a mad weekend. Can you not remember any of it? Were you there, really? And Jesus, yeah. And said, and what's more, there's some of the ladies and the men said that Jesus wasn't in the tomb. And then, do you remember the story where Jesus said he'd come back to life again 3 days? And they still didn't recognise that the one that they'd been talking about was standing right beside them. And it wasn't until they'd got to the home and the guy said, listen, come on in for something to eat, that as they went in, and in the very normal but very abnormal thing of having some lunch, some bread, it was only then that the two guys realised that this man walking beside them was in fact the man that they'd been talking about. So much of our faith, we say we know about that story, or we know about Jesus. We know that he died. We know that he was raised to life again. We know the parables that he told. We know the miracles that he did. We know all of that, we say. And yet sometimes Jesus comes right to us in our situation and we don't recognize him. One of the songs that I put a link to is a song that my son Nathan wrote. And whenever his first son, Josiah, was born, he wrote this song. And as he was filled with the excitement and anticipation, worries of being a new dad, he thought there's something of peace of knowing that Jesus is totally involved. And as he put his son Josiah in the palm of God's hand, it brought peace to him. So enjoy that. And the other song, Peacemaker, is a song that we listened to while on holiday one year. It was written by a guy who just wanted, or was asked to come up with a song that would talk and describe Jesus. And so he penned this song, Peacemaker. It's nothing more than the names of Jesus and the descriptive words of what Jesus does. And I recommend them and these thoughts to you, that even though you may know what and who Jesus was, do you really know him? Do you know just about him? Or do you really know him? Let me finish with a story that I heard many years ago. There was a competition in a hall where many people came and to recite poems and various things. And there's a man, a great known actor, stood up on the stage and he read and spoke "The Lord's my shepherd," the 23rd Psalm. And it was perfectly performed. The pauses were the right pace and speed and length. The excitement and the intonation of the words was just poetically perfect. And when he finished, there was a standing ovation and people clapped and applauded him. And then there's another man got up. He wasn't as polished. He didn't look as professional. And he too recited the 23rd Psalm. But there's something different. Perfect in delivery it was not. But at the end, there was silence. Not one applause, just silence. And he stood there and he left the stage and he spoke to the actor who was on before him. And he says, they mustn't have liked that. And the actor said, no, they loved it. He says, well, there's no applause. Why was that? And the actor said, I knew the 23rd Psalm, but you know the shepherd. I really do hope and pray that more and more through these days of uncertainty and fear, that you will think to yourself, do I just know the stories? Or do I know the shepherd, the peacemaker, the one who hears and knows all our inner fears? And will I put myself in the protection of the palm of his hand?